Ferrari unveils a $390,000 SUV. Don't call it an SUV. The supercar maker's first four-door, four-seater has likely racked up more than 2,000 pre-orders already. Well, yeah. Obviously, you get to have a Ferrari badge and fit stuff. So, of course, everybody... Puro Sangue. Puro Sangue. What a name, by the way. It's a horse, in case you didn't know. Unveiled its long-awaited $390,000 crossover that will haul this supercar maker into a new era of broader appeal. The company's most utilitarian model in its 75-year history. 4 doors, 4 seats, and a 473-liter trunk hitting showrooms next year. Heavily geared over 4 years of development to meet Ferrari's track-worthy credentials, the Puro Sangue represents a break from the manufacturer's low-slung racing machines. Some people are mad about this. I saw comments, Enzo Ferrari is rolling in his grave. You should never have done this. If you can spend this much money, get one SUV and one sports car. Why does it have to be the same thing together? I don't think I share that sentiment. I just Ferrari is trying to remain profitable and relevant and into the future, and they're doing electric vehicles, and they've got the F1 stuff going on that they've got to fund. So I think Enzo would have been like, all right, do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. If the people want to buy, if people are buying Lamborghini Uruses and we can do better as a company through launching an SUV, and it's still going to be fast. It's got a V12 in it, though they're going to put out a V8 model eventually. Who cares? I don't know. It still looks sick. Look at the way the doors open and the 4-seater and a trunk. I would drive this thing. No problem, man. I get it, like the purist type thing, the purists that are out there, and they say that's not a Ferrari. It's kind of like when we had, maybe not to the same extent, but when you had the Mustang Mach-E and everyone said that's not a Mustang.
Sure, yeah.
It's fine. Like, I think the two things can coexist. You can say, hey, that's not a real Ferrari, and the product can still exist. Just like the Urus is not a Lamborghini, or Lamborghini, the company's not really Lamborghini anymore. I guess you could say the same thing for Ferrari. But either way, I think it's cool. I am the type of person that likes to have a performance vehicle and carry some things with me. That's who I am. So this thing is cool.
The shape of it is really nice.
This thing is
for
cool.
A SUV.
I mean, it's not you understand what they mean, though. They say it's not a Ferrari. Like, you kind of agree with that?
I do.
Yeah, but
in many ways,
it can still exist. I think you can say both things. You can like this and also say it's not really a Ferrari. I think it's fine. You can say both things.
It's just branded Ferrari.
Because people are so polar with it. It's a love and hate thing.
Because Ferrari is like so pure, and how people
the brand.
see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's also that it's so polar on the internet in 2022. You can't just be okay with something. You can't just, or you can, but it's just probably that isn't going to be the thing that rises to the top. If you're just like, pretty good. It's all right. It's okay. You can't, it's either he's rolling in his grave or it's finally, give me my pre-order. It's such a love-hate. Whereas this is more in the middle. It's not the most exciting thing in the world I've ever seen, but it's pretty cool. That's sort of where I'm at.
Okay.
And I don't have one of the 2,000 pre-orders for it. I think the real thing that stood out to me is how pricey it is.
Yeah.
In this market, I can't think of anything at that price point. For $400,000 US. I can't think of it. So, and this stupid thing ringing over here. By the way, like, I'm in the audience right now, and guess what? I'm saying, have you ever heard of silent? Shut that up. Have you ever heard of do not disturb? It's normally on do not disturb.
Why'd you override it?
People's stressing me out over here.
Oh, jeez.
I like it. shoot me. I don't know. I like it. You put the seats down. It's kind of fun and funny. Plus, I got kids, and they want to go for a fast ride. They want to hear a V12. I'm trying to share the excitement.
So if you actually own
Is that all right, Will? Can I share the excitement in my Pero Sangue?
Yeah, I guess so.
Go ahead, Will.
But if you own this car,
yeah.
would you actually say that you own a Ferrari? But then you have to correct yourself and say, yeah, I got the SUV. Or you're just going to stop at, I own a Ferrari.
Like, first of all, what scenario am I in that I'm introducing that?
You're talking to a couple baseball coaches.
And I say, imagine I arrive, I go, excuse me, I own a Ferrari. They're like, okay. That's not what we were talking about. How does that
roll out the red carpet
conversation come up that way?
It's like, so what car do you drive? They're asking you.
I would, in this case, that's okay. They just straight up say, what car do you drive? Yeah, I would probably say the Ferrari SUV. I would have to put the SUV part in. And they don't even want you to use the word SUV. But I can't say Puro Sangue or I sound that could kick me out the door. I'm getting a boot for that.
Yeah.
So
but you have to label it as the SUV.
I guess you have to say the Ferrari SUV. But I kind of feel the same way about the Lamborghini Urus. You would say the same thing. The Lamborghini SUV. So you might even say the same thing about the Rolls-Royce SUV or the Bentley SUV. You might just say that instead of, in those cases, saying the Cullinan or what's the other one? What's the name of the Bentley SUV? Can't remember right now. Bentayga. Right? Isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, something like that. Bentayga, yeah. Or Bentayga. One or the other. Anyway. They always got to have these flashy names. See, if you said that to somebody in a regular setting, Bentayga, they'd be like, okay, what's that?
Absolutely.
They'd be like, okay, what's that? I mean, in a regular setting, granted, there's probably, you could roll with certain crowds that they would know exactly what that was.
Sure, yeah. But I wouldn't say it. I would say the SUV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
sheer embarrassment of trying to pronounce
the thing. I think that, I'll tell you what I think bothers some people about this situation is that SUVs kind of all end up looking similar just because of the parameters. You're trying to fit people, fit luggage, and put it on four wheels. So you can do some things with the, certain design elements, but they all kind of end up looking pretty similar in the end. And it isn't. There's the McLaren SUV over there. Is now inevitable. You can make them a little bit more Batmobile, but they still kind of have a blobby characteristic. They have a hard time looking sleek because you're trying to put things in them.
Especially the back.
Yes, that's what. Yeah. And they're taller. They got to be taller, and so they just look fatter. And they do all types of things. Look, there's a Lotus electric SUV on the left. They try to make the lid, the roof, black so you don't see it. So it looks slimmer than it is. But it's just never going to look like a two-seater sports car. So I think that pisses people off, that those two things, it's just impossible to connect those. And then also the fact that like the SUV used to be rugged concept, off-road type thing, or like the really big SUVs, just people movers, utility. It's the luxury SUV, then the performance SUV that gets people all riled up. But anyway, listen, where we live, you have to contend with some subpar conditions sometimes. And you might want to drive your Ferrari year round, and now you can because of Puro Sangue. Now you can.